It's Kelly
and Kathera,
and we are here to talk with Miss Kirsten.
Okay, so this is Kirsten Raposa. We'll do a full introduction here. She is a newer agent in our office, and so actually we're doing a double video. You guys can't see it, but there's another camera over there that is, she's recording, so she posts her vlogs on...
everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Yeah, she does not discriminate, unlike us. We like Facebook.
We're pretty exclusive.
We're listening.
I'm not judging.
No, Kelly was at one point going to put all of our videos up on YouTube.
Yeah, some of them are up there on YouTube. We have a K&K page on YouTube, so I haven't really caught up to getting all the newer ones up there, but you could go check it out.
She got bored
on our
with it.
YouTube. Saw something shiny.
Listings. So anyway, so we're going to kind of let Kirsten run the show. If we're not looking at you guys, it's because we're looking at that camera over there because we're going to kind of hit them both. But today's topic, as you guys can see on there, is the importance of pricing. So, which is actually awesome for multiple reasons.
Well, the spring market starting, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed is that a lot of homes nowadays have been posted and getting offers in the first, within 24 hours of posting. And typically you hear a lot that there's a 6-week window to sell your home. So yeah, you can start high and just kind of maybe work it down a little bit and still be in that 6 weeks. But I feel like with the market the way it is right now, that is not necessarily true. So what are your thoughts on that?
So, do you want to start with this one?
Well, I think that it really depends on the saleability of the house. I think that you can get away with pricing a little bit high in a market such as this with a seller's market because there's a lack of inventory on the market. So I feel like depending on what type of market you're in, I think that you could do that. But it really depends on the saleability of the house. I think there's some people that feel like I could list my house high and it's going to sell no matter what the price is because there's a lack of inventory. And I think that's true in a lot of senses, but I mean there's some houses that I've looked at that it's priced way too high, and they're just in the age of technology when you can look online and see when a house sold, last sold, what has been done to the property.
Sure.
People, it just wouldn't be smart business to go in there and price too high.
Well, and it is a seller's market, but that's kind of changing with the spring market opening. A lot of people most sellers like to go on market now or wait, and then it kind of slows down in June. So will it turn to a buyer's market?
Well, I think we're at the top of the market, honestly. I feel like there's some school of thought that we have been in a seller's market for a while. I think at some point, yes, you are going to turn. And I do feel like it still is definitely a seller's market, just simply because there's not that much on the market. Interest rates are like, we just were talking about this yesterday, interest rates are incredibly low right now. They've gotten even better than they have been in the last few years. And so I feel like there's going to be more buyers out there. Still, there's not a ton of things, even with the spring. I mean, we're coming into April, and there still isn't that much out there to look at. Doesn't mean people aren't still willing to sell.
Homes are buying.
And so, but I feel like it will. I mean, it's bound to change. I mean, it's bound to go back to a buyer's market. But at this point,
Everybody wave at Nate.
He's kind of wants to get in the middle of everything. That guy.
He tries to be. Yeah,
he
really can't. So yeah, like what Kelly's saying is inventory is definitely still low.
Yeah.
And we probably look for it to continue to be a little bit on the low end for a little while. Where I think pricing falls into that is, like, I just had that listing, put it on Saturday morning. I had a dozen showings over between Saturday and Sunday, 4 offers come Monday by the end of, because 3 of them came in Sunday night, one of them came in on Monday. And all of them were right around the asking price. So I think it's very important to make sure that you know your market, know the value of the house.
Yes.
And so if you overprice, and if you're within a few $1,000s, you're probably still going to get offers. But if you're trying to go in, 10,000 high and say, oh, we'll see what happens. Well, it's not a smart thing to do, and especially right now, if a house sits on the market for 2 weeks and it hasn't had an offer, 2 weeks versus 6 weeks is what it used to really be. It starts looking like, what's wrong with it? Is there something wrong with it? So being aggressive, even though it is a seller's market, you still have to be aggressive with your pricing. And the market is going to dictate what your house is worth.
Yes.
I say that all the time. Talked to somebody about that yesterday. I said, you know what? You can price your house at 140, even if you think it's worth 145. You're going to get the offers that are going to bring it to 145.
Yeah, you're going to get the competitive. It's so competitive right now that the market itself will drive it to where you're probably wanting it to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, try it a little bit, and I do a 2 week. I also will do like a 1 week or 2 weeks. Like, okay, you want your price? That's fine. We're going to write it in the contract, though. We're going to drop it immediately
because the seller is in charge of the price, the ultimate price. We are just here to coach you through the process and help you to make a more educated decision on the pricing. But we're there to help you, not tell you what to do. Really.
Right. But at the same time, we do also, this is our time. And it does. It takes our time to market a property. It takes a lot of our efforts to. There's windows all around us. I guess we should turn it. Well, it'll go dark. It'll go dark over there. There's Bill just walking in. See, he's getting ready to walk behind us. He's harassing us at the window. One of these days, we'll give you guys the full tour of this room. It's called the fishbowl for a reason.
But pricing too high is going to have going to backfire for you as well.
Even in a seller's market,
right? And if you're just simply wanting to list it to see what you get versus are you actually wanting to sell the property, that's two different things.
Yeah.
Because at some point, obviously, unless you have a cash buyer, you're pricing too high. It's not going to appraise for that. So it's not as simple. This is no eBay auction. This is actually, you've got to be able to, unless you've got the cash to bring the cash, you've got to be able to get that money from a lender, and you've got to be able to justify that to their bosses that property is worth what they say that it is. So.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because in the blog that I'll post along with my video is that you have to sell your house 3 times. Because you have to first sell it to the agent. Because if we find your home and we think it's priced too high and we show it to our client and they agree, we won't show you the property. And then if we do get them in the door and then the buyer says, then you have to sell it to the buyer. And the buyer has to decide whether or not they think the home that they possibly might be living in is worth the price tag. And then if they do decide to put in an offer, you then have to sell it to the bank. Because they will have an appraisal come out and they will decide if the home is worth the cost. So you list the price, but you're not just selling it to the person who's buying the house. You have to then convince 3 different people that it is worth what you are saying it is worth.
Absolutely. And that's our job, I think, as realtors, is to make sure that we can accurately represent that price to our sellers so they understand exactly where we're coming from. And know that when we're pricing, we're not pricing because we're not just pulling numbers out of a hat. There's a reason for it because we want to make sure that it's priced properly to make it desirable to buyers, to make it desirable for other agents to bring their clients through. And when we do get an appraisal, that it does happen. And we have these conversations.
Right, and it's exactly why you have a buyer's agent. That's people say, I've heard stories from people that, well, I know what I'm doing, I can, but honestly, unless you've been in the market and you know what properties are really worth, you need to have some proper education, which I think is important, so that you're not making poor decisions and flying blind on how to purchase a home. So,
and even when you get multiple offers, make sure that your multiple offers, when you're negotiating these, that you're not going too high.
Yes.
Just because somebody says it says, because again, that's the appraisal issue with it is stop and have that conversation. There's a possibility that it won't appraise for this price. What are we going to do then? Because
the seller will back out if they don't have the out-of-pocket cash and they don't want to pay the out-of-pocket cash because they can still buy the home. They will just have to pay the difference, not just the down payment, but the difference between what the bank says it's worth and what you're listing it at.
That's can be in some serious dangerous ground. I know some people who have purchased homes because they feel like they want to win. They've got to get it into a house, and that's understandable. You have to live somewhere. But ultimately, if you pay too much for a property and they go to sell it and something unexpected happens where you need to get out of a house for a job moving for a job or some other reason that's kind of beyond your control, if you end up spending too much on the house on that front end, then you're going to be paying for it on the back end and finding that you're not able to sell it for what you want to sell it for, or you know, if people can see that you didn't do updates and justify the price, that's going to be difficult, especially if you're buying it on the top end of the range of worth.
So, moral of the story, lots and lots and lots of factors that go into pricing a home,
Yes.
buying a home, selling a home. Best case scenario every time is hire a realtor, whether you're buying or selling. We not only have the knowledge and the experience, but we also accept the liability of a lot of contract issues.
Right.
So always
Our
find someone you
goals
trust.
are your goals. We want you to sell the property.
That was really that was like a whole tagline thing there. Like, we got you. Like Uncle
She
Sam.
would she had some pom-poms.
Next time pom-poms.
Yay.
I think that's going to be a thing. She's going to go to Dollar Tree later, guys. So
Oh, we've got some fun for you later, so I'll say stay tuned.
yeah, we do need to introduce you to some of our friends.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Kirsten may or may not be here later when we introduce, but we'll. You don't want to be a part of that?
Not
It's going to be lots of fun. The people on your vlog are going to be like, what friends?
Missing out, I know.
They're going to be asking about these friends.
Wait a minute. All right, so we're going to sign off. We'll check y'all later.
All right, bye.
Bye.